Everybody's heard about the bird. Bird, bird, bird. The bird's a winner when a bird, bird, bird. Bird is a
Welcome back to another week of Kicking It with Bird and Mook. This is your host, Brian Mook McMurdy and Robert Bird Brown. We are very fortunate today to have a special guest, Kevin Healy, who's the current president and general manager of the Baltimore Blast, your hometown Baltimore Blast, as well as the president of the Baltimore Bays. Kevin, welcome aboard. Appreciate you coming out here today.
Thank you. Happy to be on the air with you.
I just had a quick question for you. Pretty exciting week this week. Tuesday night's game, we had a number of players from up here in Carroll County that made the trip down to Baltimore to watch the game the other night, and it sounded like some good things happened there.
Yeah, absolutely. We're the Blast. We've won 7 championships. It's shooting for our eighth championship, and that's what we're all about, is trying to win championships and supporting our community and getting out in the community. So we had a great regular season, came in first place, but we're judged by how we do in March, and Tuesday night was a great night. We lost that initial game, which created a mini game because it was one game apiece. We had beaten Syracuse up there, and they had come into our arena and beat us, and so it came down to a 15-minute game. Our guy came charged up, and we did what we had to get it to the finals.
Now, was that an aggregate score like they have in the European games?
No, it's not aggregate. It is, in fact, if it was aggregate, we would have won easy because we won by 13 points up in Syracuse, 20-7, and then we lost the game here 9-6. But now the way it's set up is a game, and so it's effectively a 2 out of 3 series. You play one game in one place and the other game in the other, and if you split, then that mini game becomes a third game.
Gotcha. So is that a sudden death type game, or it's a full 15-minute?
No, it was a full 15-minute period. Then if it would have been tied after the 15-minute period, then it would have went to sudden death at that point.
But they basically throw another 5 or 10 minutes on the clock and then play sudden death?
At that point, yep. At that point in time, yeah, it would have been sudden death. At that point, they put 15 minutes on the clock, but it would just, it'd be a break after 15 if nobody had scored. But if a goal was scored, that would have been the winner.
So how was your crowd? Was it good?
It was pretty good for a Tuesday night. Not as good as our average. I mean, we do pretty well with our attendance in that we average about 6,200 fans that come into our game. Being a midweek game and not a lot of advance notice on when we were playing, we had around 3,700 at the game last night, and for the championship game, we expect a better crowd than that. But very supportive. Baltimore has always been very supportive of our product. We do very well with our attendance, and that's why we've been here for 34 straight years.
That was going to be my next question, is how many years have you guys been around? 34 years.
34 in a row. It's something we're very, very proud of. I mean, you look at even major sports, and unfortunately even in our own town, with us losing the Colts before we got the Ravens back, the franchise is moving, from one city to another city, and to think that there's been indoor soccer in Baltimore at the same facility, from Civic Center to Baltimore Arena to First Mariner, back to Baltimore Arena again. But every year there's been indoor soccer down there, and it's something we're very proud of. It's something that the soccer community throughout the state of Maryland should be proud of.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember as a kid going down and watching some of the Blast games, and I'm a pretty old dude.
I'm so old, I remember the Philadelphia Fever.
There you go. Absolutely.
So what's next? The next game coming up is...
The next game is Sunday. Now we're pre-taping this, so the game has just ended probably as this is on the air. It's March 16th is the final against Missouri. We play Friday in Missouri, and then Sunday at home. And hopefully then, as this hits the airwaves, we've won ourselves a championship.
Fantastic. Now, would it be the same thing if you win away or lose away and come back and split the games another 15-minute?
Yes, same thing. That way each city gets to see, a game in that championship series, and then and it's very exciting. It's proved to be that way. I mean, both semifinal rounds went to that mini game, and even talking to the players last night. Obviously, after the game, very happy. We're talking about the crowd reaction when they came back onto the court, because there was a 15-minute break in between, like a halftime break in between, where went back to the locker rooms. Coaches could make some adjustments to their roster because it was a new game, which we did. Levy Wapu went in at that point with a fresh player, and then came back out at that point in time. The excitement in the crowd that they were ready to go to get behind the team certainly helped them as they walked back onto the field. In Baltimore, we take a lot of pride in our sports teams and what we do, and a chance for another Baltimore team to win a championship, and hopefully that will happen. And the beauty of our game is, the three of us, we all love soccer, no matter how it's played. But the indoor game is a game where, if you're a sports fan, you really, really enjoy the game, just the physical nature of it, the speed of the game, and the number of goal chances that happen.
So after you notch your 8th championship here in Baltimore, what's next? Do your Blast players go out to do camps, appearances? What do we expect from the Baltimore Blast after they become world champs again?
Yeah, we absolutely do that. I mean, we look at it, Bert, is that we earn the right for people to come to our game, and we want to be a part of the community. And we're here for 12 months for people. So whether it's going out and doing camps and clinics out there, which is obviously a revenue generator for us, but getting out there and the kids are being taught by the pros the proper fundamentals of the game and how to play the game and how to enjoy the game too and to love the game. And our players do an excellent job of that. We get out with clinics, whether it's various rec councils and clubs that are out there, and then we do speaking engagements. We do what we call soccer volleyball, where 4 of our guys will go in and play against a school with the teachers. The teachers get to use their hands. Our guys don't use their hands. They return everything without their hands. And it's an interesting concept, and we have a lot of fun with that too. And in fact, it's not announced yet, but I think Carl Delma was putting something together for a sick child out in Carroll County, where they're looking for a location right now that we're probably going to go out in April and play that out there and raise some money for the family.
Could you allow the Lords of Baltimore, since we're trying to launch it from this location and trying to bring it to Baltimore, would you like us to help you out in trying to secure a location and
Absolutely.
help out
I think we'd work with Carl on that. I think he's looking at a location right now. But, yeah, any help you can give. I mean, we're here to help the community. If there's somebody out there that needs our support and our help, and we can go in and have a little funny event with that and they can earn some money for the family, we're all in favor of that.
It just made me think about a couple of things. How would somebody, if they are a rec council leader, or just say I'm a class advisor for one of the classes at Westminster High School, how would we approach? Who do we contact to get the information on doing like the soccer volleyball or running the summer camp? What's the best way to do that?
If you call our office, it wouldn't be any problem. You can always contact me, or you can contact Mike Conway also. But really, anybody in our office, but either one of us would be fine to contact and tell us what you want. We'd be glad to set that up and to get out there. And we've done a lot in the school systems too, where we go out and whether it's a negative, more like anti-bullying stuff, staying away from drugs, watching drinking and staying away from those vices, or more on a positive nature, how to eat right and to stay healthy and to have a positive attitude. Our players do a very good job going out there and speaking engagements and talking to the kids, whether it's grade school kids all the way through high school. They kick the ball around a little bit while they're doing it to get the students' attention at doing that. But it's something that we're really proud of. We call our program "Education is a Blast," and we're proud of what we do out there in the community with that.
And the Lords of Baltimore, good news. Lords of Baltimore, we're trying to get indoor and outdoor all things soccer for the region. And the Lords of Baltimore with Green Turtle of Westminster have teamed up to promote the Green Turtle as the official World Cup headquarters. And we foresee having Bohemian buses and also Blast buses heading down to each location in the winter and summer seasons.
Absolutely. I think that's super. We're wrapping up our season, so the Bohemians are getting ready to get started. Phil Terabasi's done a great job of putting that together. Just named Santino Carranto, and known since the kid is the head coach. I'm sure he'll do a fabulous job, and it's something that we certainly support. Because the Bohemians is mostly college players looking to play in a quality league in the summer and preparing them not only for their college season but from a potential professional career. So, we're watching the games and watching the players on the Bohemians, and hopefully some of them are able to move up to the professional ranks. All
right, you're listening to Kicking It with Bird and Mook. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, this is Jeff Laird, owner and general manager here at WTTR. Last December, when I bought the station, I knew that I couldn't leave any stone unturned about the operation of the station. I looked at everything: the personnel, the format, our commitment to the community, revenue opportunities, expenses, everything. And there was an expense that was making me extra crazy. We were spending a ton on ink cartridges, toners, and drums, over $400 a month, so I did a full review and called in several vendors to help us with our document processing needs. And there was one vendor that stood out from all the rest: Document Essentials. Brian McMurty of Document Essentials came in, looked at what we needed, and recommended a solution of network printing, faxing, scanning, and copying for just $179 a month. It's a no money down, turnkey approach. Well, it's only been a couple weeks, but I already can see the savings, and we certainly don't look like one of those big box stores storing all kinds and types of ink cartridges. If your copier, fax, or laser printer doesn't have a service contract, or you're paying way too much like we were to process documents, then call my friend Brian McMurty of Document Essentials, 410-857-5255, extension 107. That's 410-857-5255, extension 107.
Welcome back. We're here with Kevin Healy of the Baltimore Blast.
Kevin, what's on tap for next year? How are the Blast looking next year? Do you recruit locally? How do you get your players?
Yeah, we can talk about that. What we do is the continuity of our team and how we get players, certainly from all over the world and the country, but we also always look for local players too, and different ways to try out. We do have an open tryout situation, and then we have an invitation only after that, so we can go over that.
Okay, fantastic. If you don't mind, let's switch gears a little bit. I know last week on the show, Mook had made a big deal about the great professional game we had here in Baltimore, the Chelsea versus AC Milan a few years back. I know just from being around you and then knowing your involvement in the Baltimore soccer community that you were very active in making that game happen. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it was a unique experience and something that I'm proud of, and we were able to accomplish here in Baltimore. But with a relationship that I had with Chelsea, they were contacting us, and a fellow by the name of John Scheinman was representing them, and said they wanted to play a game in Baltimore, and we couldn't at the time because there was another event there being held at the stadium, so it didn't look good. And then Terry Hasseltine, who's the head of sports marketing for Maryland State, contacted me and said, "Hey, you still want to have that soccer game?" I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, the event that we were going to have at the stadium was just canceled. It's not going to happen." And this was in January. I know exactly when it was. It was January, right before the NSCA convention, which was being held that weekend, I think, in Indianapolis, if my memory serves me correct. Anyway, I said, "Well, it's a little late right now. I don't know if we can pull that off, but I'll try." So contacted them, got on a plane right away within a day, went out to the NSCA convention where the Chelsea people were, tried to convince them to say, "Hey, at least give us a chance. I know I can get the right people to the table, and we'll see if we can make a deal here." And literally within a week to 10 days, we had the deal done, and that game was coming to Baltimore. And I had told them that I really believed that game would sell out in Baltimore. Unfortunately, it did. So it all worked well. But it was really a lot of cooperation there from the Ravens, from the Maryland State government. Ed Hill, our owner here with the Blast, was instrumental helping to bring some people to the table. And it really showcased our city and our town and our state that we could really support that outdoor game and put us on the map, because I was part of the World Cup committee at that in the last process too, and the United States didn't end up getting that World Cup, but we were one of the cities that they were looking at if they did get the World Cup of holding games in Baltimore, and all that came off of that initial Chelsea AC Milan game.
So it sounded like you were pretty confident to the powers to be to say, "Hey, we can sell it out in Baltimore." I kind of feel the same way. A lot of energy. How many hours did it take to sell out organically?
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot of time and effort, and obviously we've had some games since then that didn't sell out. I just think that was the right time and the right place at that point in time. But it really takes everybody working together. The soccer community working together, and I can't. I really applaud the Ravens. Also, the Ravens are a great organization, and you can see it. When I was able to work directly with them on this project, and then some other games that have come here too. So It took a lot of time and energy, but I think we were rewarded. The game was a fabulous game. It was a great night, and I know for a fact that I went over to Chelsea that following summer, during the winter actually. I went over to Chelsea after that, and they were talking about that game and how much the players enjoyed playing in that game in Baltimore.
Yeah, I was there this summer with our soccer team, and we did a tour of Chelsea Stadium, and in their showcase in their trophy room was Kelly Gregg's number 97 autographed jersey for them. It was pretty cool.
There you go.
So you seem to be a man in the know. Obviously, this is a World Cup year. Not much is going on for, say, international friendlies. But can you give us a little, since you're a man in the know, give us a little teaser or tickler of things or potential things to come for Baltimore?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in Baltimore this summer. I think D.C. is getting some games. It really, the original plan, I will tell you this, the original plan when we looked at it is to do these kind of things every 2 years because you try not to hit the World Cup year. And it's either, like this year, the World Cup finals year, but in 2 years it's qualifying too. Because what happens then is your top players really aren't playing in that game. They're either, still, depending on when you have it, still playing in the World Cup, or they just got finished the World Cup competition and need some rest at that point in time. So I do think it's smart to try to bring teams in off that World Cup cycle. So every 2 years off the World Cup cycle. So hopefully next year that'll be the case. But there are some games that are coming to D.C. this year. I know that.
Well, do you think with the kind of support that you've seen at that AC Milan Chelsea game and some of the other ones we've had, even though it's not been a sellout, there've been a number of fans at those games. Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you think about our concept of bringing an MLS team here to Baltimore?
I mean, it's certainly a possibility. It all comes down to, some of the challenges to it is that you got to get funding for a stadium. I think MLS, and correctly so, are very big at building soccer-specific stadiums that is the right size to create that supply and demand. You don't want a 50,000-seat stadium initially because then without that supply and demand going on there, people aren't buying tickets ahead of time and whatnot. So, you got to get some people behind that and being ready to put some money into it initially. So, and having a team in D.C. and Philadelphia creates a little bit of a challenge for us too. But you never know.
But I mean, my point on that, though, Kevin, with D.C. and Philadelphia, I mean, we are all very different cities. We all love to hate each other, but we're very supportive of each other as well. And I think there's plenty of room for franchises.
No, I agree with you there. And listen, we're all about, born and bred Baltimore guy, we're not D.C. and we're not Philadelphia, so I think there's definitely that we could have the support here in doing something like that. But it's all, we know what we have in our community and what goes on. It's just sometimes convincing other people, that don't know our area as well as we do.
Great. I just have another question for you. I mean, if we were to attract either an MLS franchise or even the current Baltimore Bohemians, how does that work with the Blast? Or do we serve as direct competitors? Or are we something we can find some common synergy?
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely there would be synergy. In fact, when the city was looking at trying to get DC United down here and funding the stadium, I was called into some meetings for that and what went on, and it definitely speaks some positive. First of all, the seasons, the outdoor season, it's just beginning now. We're just ending now. It's really two different seasons in what we're doing. So certainly the two groups could work together, and that's what soccer needs to do more in the United States, work together and not work apart in what they're doing. So I think the MLS, along with the indoor soccer, certainly could work together at that point in time.
Well, I think a lot of things we're trying to bring it together with the Lords of Baltimore, where it's kind of the yin and the yang, summer and winter. All of us are organic. Both Bird and I are definitely in our 50s, and we were the first generation of indoor and playing outdoor. So we see the synergy. I love playing indoor. I love watching indoor. I've been to 3 or 4 Blast games this season. Last year I attended many matches for the Bohemians. So I think it's great. I think if we're going to start bringing in some corporate people as well who see the value to bring it united, so to say, for Baltimore, I think we got a great future.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and it all works together. It's important to get those crowds in there and have supporters like yourself, doing that and get the attendance in. Because the more you get the attendance in, either it is to talk to businesses about coming in and sponsoring and using it as an advertising vehicle and what we're doing. So it all certainly works together.
If there was a person out in radio land listening, and you happen to be in the know where you have some advertising dollars, or you see the benefit of the synergy at the Blast, who would be the contact people? Would it be a marketing division? Would it be you?
Yeah, probably you could always call me. At the top, I'm willing to take any phone call and get involved in anything. We're a small office, and we work hard in what we're doing here, and all of us get involved. And certainly on the sponsorship, our owner Ed Hale would be involved in that too, and what we're doing, or Mike Conway, my assistant, also.
All right, you're listening to Kicking It with Bird and Mook. We'll be right back after this.
Hi, this is Jeff Laird, owner and general manager here at WTTR. Last December, when I bought the station, I knew that I couldn't leave any stone unturned about the operation of the station. I looked at everything: the personnel, the format, our commitment to the community, revenue opportunities, expenses, everything. And there was an expense that was making me extra crazy. We were spending a ton on ink cartridges, toners, and drums, over $400 a month, so I did a full review and called in several vendors to help us with our document processing needs. And there was one vendor that stood out from all the rest: Document Essentials. Brian McMurty of Document Essentials came in, looked at what we needed, and recommended a solution of network printing, faxing, scanning, and copying for just $179 a month. It's a no-money down, turnkey approach. Well, it's only been a couple weeks, but I already can see the savings, and we certainly don't look like one of those big box stores storing all kinds and types of ink cartridges. If your copier, fax, or laser printer doesn't have a service contract, or you're paying way too much like we were to process documents, then call my friend Brian McMurty of Document Essentials, 410-857-5255, extension 107. That's 410-857-5255, extension 107.
Welcome back. We're here with Kevin Healy of the Baltimore Blast.
You know, we talked about indoor and outdoor, and I'm a huge fan of futsal. When I grew up as a little kid in Rio de Janeiro, we played Futebol de Salão, which is basically the same thing. One of your local greats, Denison Cabral, has just been named as the national director for the youth futsal. Pretty excited from your end?
Oh, no, that's great. I mean, Denison, I coached Denison before he knew England, so I'm very close to Denison. We spent a lot of years together and doing a lot of things. It was great that we just put him in our Blast Hall of Fame. Dennis is a great guy, and I think it's a great opportunity for him. And futsal, you know, like the indoor game, is a game that, as you're training for the outdoor, you know, all teams when they're training outdoor, I mean, whether it's Chelsea, Man U, or Arsenal, or Real Madrid, whoever it is, they're not training 11v11 all the time. They're training 6v6 and 7v7 and 5v5, and what we're doing, going over things, and that's what the indoor game is, and futsal also. So they certainly can work together with that. And in fact, the national team for our country in futsal, all the players come out of the indoor game because it is a comparable game.
Fantastic. I know you're proud of Dennis, and he's a great guy, as you said, and he's done some wonderful things locally with his program, and I think he's going to do the same thing, taking it to the national level.
Yeah, absolutely. And he was the guy could play, and he was phenomenal at finishing goals. He could put a ball in frame no matter where you put it. He'd flip in the air and put it on the frame. He was special.
Yeah, who are you kidding? He can still do that stuff. I watched him train our boys last year. He's pretty phenomenal. Yeah. I just had a couple more questions. We're going to wrap things up here shortly, but a lot of the European clubs are coming over here to the U.S. and creating partnerships and maybe scouting some of the U.S. players. I know a number of years ago, 10, 15 years ago, it was more of a money-grabbing incident. Now it looks to be like they're really trying to seek out some of the U.S. players because we've had some success over there. What do you think about that? Chelsea, Tottenham.
Yeah, they are looking at that for sure. I mean, you still have some of the former that you talked about, where people are just trying to get their uniforms out here and do what they're doing here. But I think what they're doing, I know our partnership with the Chelsea, with the Baltimore Bays, is a true and a real partnership. That's what I sat down when they came to us through Adidas and wanted to form this partnership. And I approached that as that subject. I'm not interested in just something that's, it's just uniforms and that's it. We want something that is a true partnership where we're working together. And they've proven over the years that they were willing to do that, to come over and do camps for our kids. So that's where we're interacting directly with our kids. They're coming over doing coaching clinics for our coaches. And what we're doing, and that's where we're interacting with our coaches, which in fact will then help the kids at that point in time. and then we have that dialogue back and forth. So if there is a special player or two that they could do something with, whether it's directly with Chelsea or it's some other connections that they have there too, putting them in a lower program at first and then moving them up. But more and more of that is happening where it's true partnerships. It's not just throwing the uniforms out there. It's coming over, interacting, and working together to try to improve our game over here too.
Just to let you know that the Baltimore Bohemians signed on with the Dublin Bohemians in the League of Ireland, and we have a synergy. The president, Chris Bryan, flew over for the Irish Festival, and we kind of did a dog and pony show with our booth and had some beautiful scarves made up. But there's different avenues for kids who are 8, 9, 10 years old looking to go play indoor, play outdoor to the next level. This show is about the different avenues of taking grassroots soccer and getting the kids platoon to represent Baltimore, whether it's World Cup, whether it's EPL, whether it's the Blast, Bohemians, DC United, whatever it takes just to get them to the next level. That's what we're all about.
That's awesome. That's exactly what it's all about, and I think it's a good step forward for Bohemians, and then that's what you look at the organization, keep moving forward.
All right, Kevin, I just wanted to reach out and extend our appreciation for you willing to come on the show with us today. Hopefully, we've got a lot of stuff we can talk about with you. You're certainly a man in the know in the Baltimore area for all things soccer, and we'd love to extend the invitation to have you join us. We're in our infancy now, but we're planning on doing this for quite a while, and we'd love to have you back if you're okay with that.
Absolutely. I'll come back many times. I think it's great that we're having a soccer show out there, and the more people we can get out there and listen to this, and once again, working together as a group. We all love the game. That's helped the game. And
having somebody at your level so early on their second edition, I think this is fantastic. We have other people lined up as well for the next 50 weeks. Hopefully we can just keep this in continuum.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Okay.
I just want to say, as in local community news, with this said, the Baltimore Bohemians are holding tryouts at Maryville School in Brooklynville, basically off the Falls Road at 695 on Saturday, March 29th. The cost is $35. You must be over 18, and you must sign up for www.baltimorebohemians.com. What I would like to do is if you ever have children and you want to attend, you can watch. You can teach your children what it takes to get to the next level. The Lords of Baltimore and Green Turtle of Westminster have teamed up to promote the Green Turtle as being the official World Cup headquarters located at their franchise in Westminster. They will be holding the Copa del Rey, Barcelona, and Real Madrid on Sunday, March 23rd at 4 p.m. Call Dario at 410-871-1524 to secure a TV. Green Turtle has gone well beyond expectations. Literally, you can go in and watch any soccer game in the world. So if you have any friends that are looking to show up for EPL or any type of European league or just any country that you want to see a game, just give them a call. They'll secure a booth and a table, and you can watch the TV on your own. The Lords of Baltimore concept was launched only a week ago, and the Baltimore Bohemians love our idea. The Baltimore Bohemians are willing to have an exhibition game or match here in Carroll County. Details to come. If you want to learn more about the Baltimore Bohemians, go to www.baltimorebohemians.com. Like us on Facebook at Baltimore Bohemians.
And I just want to finish out this week and thank everybody for listening in last week and hopefully this week. We received a lot of positive feedback, a lot of good comments. We are still the only soccer show out there, and we continue to do what we're trying to accomplish in our goals. As my good friend Bobby Weir from the Grateful Dead said, the bus came by and I got on. It's when it all began. So I think it's time for all of us to jump on the bus and take the Bow Bus to Baltimore.
In closing, we just wanted to reach out and say thank you again to Kevin Healy from the Baltimore Blast for his time today. More importantly, we want to give a shout-out to our producer here, Robin Temple at WTTR, who makes a couple amateurs sound like we know what we're talking about. Join us again next week, next Sunday night, 9 p.m., for more Kicking It with Bird and Mook.